thing. Buckeyes! Ohio State #1. All right, can you see? Hey.
They found a way to muzzle them. I take it, Lee, you like the Buckeyes.
I like the Buckeyes.
Peyton, tell me one thing. How in the world can you pick Tennessee when he lost 50 in a row to Coach Saban in Alabama?
Oh, no.
Hendon Hooker's the difference this year.
Yeah. That's out of my mind that I'd follow him in Tennessee. But I've been sick, so give me Tennessee.
Let's go, Coach.
This has been amazing. Pandemonium reign. This is going to be some kind of celebration as the Big Orange pulls it off. Thanks to Peyton Manning. We're glad McAfee survived his belly flop. Enjoy a great day of college football.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Volunteer Breakdown Podcast. I'm Gavin, and Mylon can't join us today, so I'm going to run the show solo today. And welcome to the Volunteer Breakdown Podcast, your college football insider. In the intro you just saw, obviously, we didn't use the normal intro, so that was my tribute to Lee Corso and all that he's meant to me. I know that I slipped the Ohio State one just because if it wasn't for him putting on that Ohio State Buckeyes mascot head, he wouldn't have made an impact on college football and college game day and the lives of millions of people the way he did. So thank you, Coach Corso, and you're going to be missed. And thank you for all that you've done in my life. And start off, there are so many games from week one that are just mind blowing to me that we can talk about. Well, I say mind blowing, but there was one game that felt like there was so many upsets. Let's just start there. So we'll talk about those after. Tennessee, Syracuse. Sorry, guys, I just muted myself. Joe Aguilar, the transfer quarterback from UCLA, comes in. Nobody knows who this guy is. Josh Heupel, the quarterback whisperer, does what he does. Gets a transfer quarterback out of the portal. He's done it before. Hendon Hooker. Joe Milton came from Virginia Tech and Michigan. And turn this guy into what Nico 10 times better would have never thought about being. The guy could hit deep passes, the deep touchdown pass to Braylon Staley. I was at the game myself, watching the ball float to the other side of the field. I was like, oh my gosh, he's going to complete that pass and Staley's going to run for a freaking touchdown. And whenever Braylon Staley caught that pass, the stadium went nuts. And I was texting my friend Hampton. He's on the Pigskin Cafe. You can go watch that too. I was like, dude, this guy is the next Hendon Hooker. And he's like, well, let's not get too carried away. So let's see. So we'll see how. I'm not trying to call him out or anything, but he'll know I'm playing. That we'll see later down the road what happens. So I am a firm believer that this guy is going to lead Tennessee to a playoff appearance based on what I saw. Now, the run game, Star Thomas did magnificent. The transfer running back from Duke. Let me just pull up his stats real quick. The stats from the Tennessee game. Someone else that did another transfer that did awesome was Colton Hood. He had a scoop and score. It was after that we fumbled the ball, and then one play later, it's like, oh, we'll be taking that. If y'all know what I'm talking about, getting the reference. So let's see. Syracuse, Tennessee. See, I'm trying to pull up the stats real quick. Hold on, everybody. Let's look at the team stats real quick. So Tennessee had 22 first downs while Syracuse had only 24. But we were on third down efficiency. We were 7 of 12 while Syracuse was 5 of 14. And Syracuse this was just like out of desperation, going for it 3 out of 4 times because you're going against the Big Orange. And then total yards 413, passing 247, and Joey Aguilar completed 16 of his 28 passes. And this is the total rushing, 246 rushing yards, and time of possession was around 25 and a half minutes. And so whenever I get into the individual stats, let's see, individual, Star Thomas. So he had 12 carries, 92 yards rushing, and averaged around 8 yards a carry. Someone else, the other running, we have a 3-headed monster at running back. Let me just go ahead and say it. You have Star Thomas, Deshaun Bishop, and Peyton Lewis. Peyton Lewis absolutely trucked the Syracuse linebacker. If you go back and it was, I think it was the first touchdown of the game that we scored because after Max Gilbert got a field goal, and then we moved the ball down the field, and then Max Gilbert said, "Boom." I was like, I watched the replay. I didn't notice it whenever I was at the game, but then I saw it on replay, and I saw him truck. The guy was probably twice his size, and he ended up trucking him and getting in the end zone. Peyton Lewis had 8 carries, 38 yards rushing, 1 touchdown, and about 5 yards a carry. Or if I said Deshaun Bishop, I meant Peyton Lewis. Through any of that. Deshaun Bishop had 11 carries, 82 yards, 1 touchdown, and about 8 yards a carry. So if you're the depth that you have at running back for this season is absolutely insane. In the past, you've had Dylan Sampson, Jabari Small, Jalen Wright. Out of the 3, if they play together at all, Dylan Sampson's obviously the best because, well, he's been at Tennessee the longest, and well, he's statistically the numbers that he put up are phenomenal. So when you have a fast offense like that, you can just rotate guys anytime you want, and that's what's so great about having a fast offense like Tennessee's is that you can have a depth like they do at running back, and as well as I wouldn't necessarily say receiving, but we do have a good receiving core. And that was another issue in the game, was that there was so many drop passes, but I'll get into that. So Joey Aguilar is known for throwing high passes and fast passes. There was reports at fall camp or spring camp that he would overthrow a receiver or passes would be dropped, but that's not because of Joey Aguilar. Well, the overthrown passes maybe, but the passes being dropped, those are the receiver's fault. You can't help that. The receiver's got to catch the ball. This guy's just like playing with Joe Milton. Joe Milton was throwing 90 miles an hour screens at the running back, and Dylan Sampson, I'm guessing, obviously at some point had to learn how to catch the ball. But if obviously overthrown, shoot, that's Nico. Nico was the offense last year was just so bad that Joey Hazel would be running up the middle twice, right? And maybe get 4 yards and then just overthrow it with to Chris Brazel or whoever it might be, and that's just a quick 3 and out that you didn't even need. You can just run maybe a screen pass, maybe shotgun concept, or maybe just run it once a rotation of downs or something. But I like the offense. I like the play calling that I saw while I was there. I think Joey fits well with the offense. He's definitely a runner. He's a better runner than Nico. Whenever Nico was out there, he was running like a baby giraffe. And let me just say this about Nico. I am baffled by his performance. The guy's saying that he wanted more money to play at the University of Tennessee, a prestigious football university. I mean, not in the years past. But now that we're making our way back to everybody respecting us in football, this guy wants a raise, essentially, whenever he's already getting paid $2 million a year to come play football, and he's eventually going to accumulate $8 million. But the sad part about it is these kids, the kid, man, what am I talking about? But the college kids, they don't know how to handle the money. The college need to offer like financial courses for them. If this is what this is the future of college football. If you're going to offer NIL money to 5 stars to come play at your school, you're going to have to offer financial courses for those players that they can take so that they know how to handle the money and know what they're doing. And Nico was shopping around for NIL deals at other schools. Like Oregon coach Dan Lanning was telling Josh Heupel, hey, this guy is shopping around for NIL deals, and we're one of the schools, and we just want to let you know. And so I think the portal was going to open that next day or the day after he left, and he eventually got picked up by UCLA, and it led to the first ever quarterback trade in college football, and eventually the first holdout, and hopefully the only holdout in college football. The defense against Syracuse was not bad. I'll just say that. It was not bad, but I think that they were just Heupel was realizing that they were I'm not Coach Heupel. I don't know what he's thinking, but I think that there could have been I would say this, the refs were absolutely against us. There were 2 pass interference calls that I saw that were not pass interference calls, and I don't know what the heck they were. But defense was good. Colton Hood, I don't know if I think I've already mentioned he had the scoop. Yeah, I did mention he had the scoop and score. That was huge. And now that it's all coming back to me, I think the defense did immaculate. Holding Syracuse to like how many yards they had, plus sacking the quarterback so many times. And like our run defense, our run defense has always been good. That's basically what got us into the playoffs last year against Ohio State was the run game and our defense. Those are the only 2 things. Now, I did mention total yards of what we they had about roughly 100 less than us. So now we're going to break down the Alabama-Florida State game, which I know was the headline of the weekend. Unranked Florida State hosts number 8 Alabama. Tommy Castellanos, the Boston State transfer, the quarterback, has been talking crap about Alabama all the offseason. Ty Simpson is the starting quarterback. He's been back up for about, I think, all 4 years that he's been there. Kalen DeBoer, if he doesn't win this game, Bama fans are going to be livid. So they go in there. They have a good first drive. And again, my friend Hampton, I'm just going to keep on calling him as an example. He told me that they just completely abandoned the run game. That first drive, I know they didn't have their starting running back. They had Jed Miller and they had 2 linemen, I think, that were out. But after that, they just completely abandoned the run game. Ty Simpson threw it for like 43 passes. And, whenever you have Florida State has Gus Malzahn, the former Auburn coach that owned Alabama during his tenure as the Auburn head coach. You just can't stop Gus. Gus Malzahn is an offensive wizard anyway. Whenever you take that pressure off him as a head coach and you allow him to think offensively and not have to think defensively, like that guy is just gonna he's unstoppable. And then Florida State's ranked 14th now, and Alabama's ranked 21. Oh, and Tennessee's ranked 22, by the way, but that's besides the point. If the Alabama loses that game in Tallahassee, now there's people saying, "Oh, Kalen DeBoer's fired. Oh, buy him out. Give him the $63 million." Well, not only that, Alabama's lost its respect. You lose to a team that went 2-10 last year, playing with their chip on their shoulder, not with Alabama being the spot that would potentially be their spot in the 4-team playoff back in 2023, and they got rigged. They got rigged because Jordan Travis, their quarterback at the time, was hurt and out for the season, and so they were down to their second, third string quarterback playing for a playoff spot, and the playoff committee obviously didn't like that. So, you're not gonna. It's just gonna be a blowout if we put Michigan, what's his name? Was JJ McCarthy and versus whoever the Florida State backups were. Like it probably would have been a blowout. So they wanted a good game. The Alabama game ended up going to overtime, and they ended up losing. So that goes to show you, Alabama football has lost its respect, its fear factor, and the dynasty. I mean, people have said the dynasty's dead for like ever since Nick Saban lost to, I would say, I guess, Tennessee back in 2022. That's whenever I thought the dynasty was over because we finally beat them after 15 years. But now that you have a new coach that's trying to fill the shoes of a coaching legend that's been successful and won numerous national titles. This is the new face of Alabama football, folks. Alabama has officially lost its fear factor. I know I keep saying that, but that's what it all boils down to. Alabama is just a regular old football team. They might go 8-4. They might go 7-5, depending on who they. I mean, I know they got us. They got Georgia, and they got Auburn. The Auburn's a team to look out for this year. And you can call me crazy. Auburn is a team to look out for. Only if they use the weapons right. They had the weapon at running back. They had the weapon at receiver. Cam Coleman, and I forget the receiver, the running back that they had last year. But they didn't have that weapon at quarterback. Now they have an experienced quarterback that's played in the SEC before. And shoot, they got a 5-star recruit, Deuce Knight, playing. I would imagine he's redshirted behind Jackson Arnold. So Auburn's got potential, but they just gotta use the weapons correctly in order to win ball games. And AP poll, going back to the AP poll, I'm not mad at it. Some people might say that they're mad at it, but I'm not. Ohio State being ranked first, yeah, they beat the number 1 team in the nation at home. Penn State, they played Nevada. LSU, they beat Clemson in Clemson Death Valley, not LSU. They beat them in Death Valley, a Death Valley. And then let me just pull up the top 10 for you. In Georgia, they played Marshall. I think they moved up a spot. Miami, they beat Notre Dame. That's a good win. Oregon beat Montana State. They moved up a spot. Texas, obviously, they lost they lost to Ohio State. And it was a good game. It was a very defensive game and a very conservative game trying to protect the quarterback. Speaking of quarterbacks, I know people are hating on Arch Manning. I will be honest. I don't think the guy was as good as he was coming in because he had I think he might have been overhyped. And people see Arch now as not what they thought what the Arch was previously. Now that he's played against a full game against a Power 5 team on the road. Your first road game was against the national champions who always seem to reload instead of rebuild with Ryan Day. Continuing, Clemson dropped to 8. Notre Dame dropped to 9. Hold on a second. South Carolina moved up to 10 after beating a sorry Virginia Tech team who couldn't score a touchdown. Illinois, meh. They moved up a spot. Arizona State moved up a spot. Florida beat the crap out of Long Island. They moved up 2 spots. And I've already told you about the 14 Florida State Seminoles that went from unranked to 14. Now, this is just my opinion. You may disagree. I don't know how you move up from unranked to 14 and almost making the playoff. Like, if this was week 10, realistically, I don't think you would have jumped. Well, I don't know. But realistically, this is week 10, and Florida State's like a really good football team. Or, I don't know. But you get what I'm saying. It's like late in the season, and they jump up to 14 after beating Alabama. They played like mid-season. Florida State has a potential playoff bid. And if they're already ranked, and they're ranked about like 20 come mid-season, and they're coming in, Alabama's coming into town, and they jump to 14, and they win their conference, then that's a playoff bid right there. Because it's the 5 highest ranked conference champs get in instead of getting a bye. I think that's how it works. I know they changed it. Michigan dropped a spot. I think it's just because of they ended up winning, but I think it's just because of like where all the other teams fell. Iowa State moved up to 16 after being 24. Obviously, they played 2 games because of the week 0 thing. They played in Ireland. They played South Dakota. SMU dropped a spot. I still think it was with how everybody fell. Oklahoma didn't move. 19. Texas A&M, they didn't move. Ole Miss moved up a spot. Alabama 21. Tennessee 22. Indiana dropped 3 spots, and I think most of the teams besides Alabama dropped a spot. Well, Alabama and Texas that dropped a spot. I think there was one more team that lost. That's in the top 25. But besides all the teams that lost, I think they just fell because like 1 or 2 spots just because of like the teams that maybe they played a better team, or maybe because that's how things fell. Texas Tech dropped a spot, and then Utah 25 after being unranked. Honestly, Utah had a good win. I know we've already talked about Nico flopping over in LA at the Rose Bowl. But I'm glad he's over in LA. And, well, I wish the best for him. Hopefully he can get more money. Nah. And that's all. That's all, folks. Wait. I lied. I meant for this video to be a review of week 0, week 1, and a preview of week 2. So I'm going to quickly preview the ETSU game, which, there's really not much to cover, but I'm just going to preview what I think might happen. Offensively, primarily offense. I think you're going to see a lot of running, a lot of more running than passing. Joe Aguilar won't play. I don't think he'll play. I think the first half. Then you'll put Merklinger in the third, and then McIntyre in the fourth. That's what I think will happen. In defense, I will dominate on defense either way. This is like us playing Chattanooga last year. It's ETSU. Their quarterback's Caden McNamara. Yes, that's Cade. Yeah, we all know who Caden McNamara is. If you watch college football, he's an old quarterback, back up at Michigan, went to Iowa. We ended up beating the crap out of him whenever he was the quarterback in the Citrus Bowl. So Josh Heupel knows how Cade McNamara works in an offense. That's only if the head coach allows him to work the same way that he did under the head coach at Iowa. So that's my little preview. That's all, folks. And remember, you can watch my podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and newly added Apple Podcasts. So I'll catch you later. Hope everybody has a good week, and go Vols.